Welcome to Journey to Wisdom, where ancient insight meets modern growth to awaken your highest self. Let's talk about something deceptively simple but incredibly powerful: reverse psychology. You've probably heard the term before, maybe used it playfully, like telling a kid, "Don't eat that cookie," just to make them want it more. But behind this clever trick lies a fascinating insight into how human psychology works, especially how we react when we feel our freedom of choice is being threatened. Reverse psychology is all about influencing someone's behavior by suggesting the opposite of what you actually want. It works because of a principle in psychology called reactance, that uncomfortable feeling we get when we think someone is trying to control us. As humans, we crave autonomy. We want to feel like we're making our own decisions. So when someone says, "You can't do that," it often sparks a rebellious inner voice that says, "Oh yeah? Watch me." That reaction is exactly what reverse psychology taps into. Instead of pushing someone directly, you subtly steer them by stepping back, or even suggesting the opposite of your real intent, so their natural desire to assert independence leads them to the choice you wanted all along. This works in parenting, relationships, leadership, marketing, and even self-talk. For example, a parent might say to a stubborn child, "Fine, you probably wouldn't want to clean up your toys. You're probably too little to handle that job." Suddenly, the child, eager to prove their capability, jumps up to clean. Why? Because you've reframed the task as a challenge to their independence or maturity, and kids, like adults, want to feel in control and competent. In romantic relationships, reverse psychology shows up more often than we think. When someone pulls away or acts disinterested, suddenly we find ourselves more intrigued. Why? Because when attention or approval is withheld, our brain can interpret it as scarce or valuable. Scarcity increases perceived value. Think about it: how often do people chase what they're told they can't have? It's not just stubbornness, it's a deep-rooted psychological pattern. Now, marketers and advertisers have used this principle for decades. When a product is labeled limited edition, or when a sale is only for today, they're not just creating urgency, they're triggering that same reverse psychology impulse. You're not told directly to buy. In fact, sometimes it's framed like, "Only a few will be able to get this." The suggestion is that you might miss out. And just like that, the desire intensifies. Reverse psychology isn't about manipulation in a negative sense, at least not when it's used ethically. It's about understanding the subtle forces that drive human behavior and using that knowledge to encourage outcomes that benefit both sides. Now let's take this a step deeper. How can you use reverse psychology on yourself? That's right, it's not just about influencing others. Sometimes, your own inner resistance can be worked around using these same principles. Have you ever told yourself, "I have to go to the gym," and felt your motivation completely drop? That's because the phrasing makes it feel like a chore, something being imposed on you. But if you flip the mindset and say, "You don't have to go, but you'll feel better if you do, it's your choice," suddenly the decision feels more empowering. When you allow yourself the freedom to choose, rather than pushing yourself with guilt or force, you reduce internal resistance. Reverse psychology here helps you align with your goals by sidestepping the natural urge to push back against pressure, even pressure you put on yourself. Another fascinating application is in leadership. Great leaders often don't tell people what to do directly. Instead, they create space for others to make the right choices themselves. A boss might say, "It's up to you if you want to take the lead on this. It's a big opportunity, but no pressure." That leaves the door open and invites people to step up out of their own desire for challenge or growth, not out of obligation. That's powerful. People are much more committed to decisions they believe they've made on their own. But reverse psychology isn't foolproof. Used too often or with the wrong intent, it can backfire. If people sense they're being manipulated, trust erodes quickly. That's why authenticity and emotional intelligence are key. Reverse psychology works best when it's subtle and when it's in service of a healthy goal, not when it's used to deceive or coerce. It's also important to note that not everyone reacts the same way. Some people are more independent-minded and sensitive to control, so they're more likely to respond to reverse psychology. Others may not feel that same level of reactance and could simply take your suggestion at face value. This is why knowing your audience, whether it's your child, partner, coworker, or even yourself, is crucial. To sum it up, the power of reverse psychology lies in its ability to harness human nature, not fight against it. When people feel their freedom is threatened, they push back. But if you step aside, or suggest the opposite of what you want, you often lead them right where you hoped they'd go, because it becomes their choice, not your command. Used with awareness and good intentions, reverse psychology can improve communication, reduce conflict, increase cooperation, and even help you navigate your own mental resistance. It's not magic, it's psychology, and it works because it respects one of our deepest desires, the freedom to choose.